Hello, friends. This is Anthony from Forest Ghost Conversations. Are you looking to get into the podcast game yourself? Well, if you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, let me tell you, it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has some tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Then, when hosting on Anchor, you can even distribute your podcast on listening platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many, many more places. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. And get this, everyone, best of all, Anchor is totally free. Just download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. Hello there. Welcome to this episode of Force Ghost Conversations. This is your host, Anthony King, and this week I'm going to take a deep dive look into the trailer for the upcoming Willow TV series. Before we get started, I'm inviting you to join the conversation with us. We can be found on Twitter at Force Ghost Pod. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok just by searching Force Ghost Conversations. We look forward to connecting with you on those platforms. Also, please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast on your listening site of choice. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to gather around the campfire for some Force Ghost Conversations. All right, everyone, welcome back to Force Ghost Conversations. And this is the episode where we finally do a deep dive look at the epic Willow trailer, the upcoming TV series that'll be streaming on Disney Plus this coming November and throughout the holiday season. And let me tell you what, I am so excited for this series. I cannot wait. This is one of my most anticipated things to come out in the next year. And it's just fascinating to me that in terms of Lucasfilm properties, think about it, ladies and gentlemen, not only are we getting consistent Star Wars content throughout the rest of the year and into next year, we're getting a Willow series this year and into next year, and later on next year in June of 2023, we're getting Indiana Jones 5. So all of the big main Lucasfilm properties are back in full swing. This is a great time to not only be a fan of each of those properties individually, but if you're a fan of Lucasfilm and the content that they're putting out, what a great time it is to be alive. Now, I bet you're asking, Anthony, this is a Star Wars podcast. What are you doing talking about Willow? And that's a great question, listener. But the answer is, this is a world that George Lucas himself created, or helped to create, I would say. Ron Howard really executed the vision very well in the 1988 film Willow, which go watch it now on Disney Plus. It is fantastic. It's one of my favorites. It's really George Lucas's version of The Lord of the Rings and a Tolkien-esque world. Sign me up, am I right? I love both of those things. George Lucas and The Lord of the Rings and Tolkien-esque fantasy. Let's do it. Combine it together. But basically, listener, this podcast isn't just about Star Wars. It's about the thematics of it all and connecting these tissues together. So really, when there's something that is very much in the Lucasian catalog of properties, right? I feel like it's fair game to talk about. So keep that in mind when it comes to the Indiana Jones. The next film comes out. We're going to be definitely talking about that. We're going to be talking about each episode of Willow as it comes out week to week. And then we will also still be talking about Star Wars at the same time, because the thematic elements of good versus evil that are central to what Star Wars is. Really, it is that moral tale for 12-year-olds on the precipice of going out into the world, and for the 12-year-old in each of us that still face these challenges each and every day. That is what it is for, right? It is for us to take these themes, learn these stories, and to become better people at the end of the day. And there's going to be excellent connective tissues between all that in Star Wars, Indiana Jones, and Willow. So that is why. We're going to talk about all the themes here and do the same thing that we've done for each and every week here at Force Ghost Conversations with Willow, and then eventually Indiana Jones. And I hope that Indiana Jones continues to grow as well. But with that, I can also spoil ahead of time that I'm going to work on some imagery for when Willow comes out, and also Indiana Jones. So in terms of our promotional materials that we usually have for the podcast, we'll have some specific things for those properties as well. So get ready for that. That's a little bit of a tease for something down the line. Now, if you listened to last week's episode, which is about the Jedi Survivor trailer, the upcoming video game, you will know that this is a pre-recorded episode, meaning that I am on vacation. At this point, I'll be at the end of my vacation on the way back to the Washington, D.C. area. So I hope that you enjoyed your week at the time of listening this. However, that also means that I do not know what the news is that came out in the Star Wars Lucasfilm galaxy over the last week itself. So I've got no idea what's going on. I have no clairvoyance into what is happening. I can't wait to talk about it in next week's episode. I will also say, I think, ladies and gentlemen, I might have to do some two week episodes again. Because now that Light and Magic is out, I feel like it deserves absolute coverage. It's a 6-episode series, and I think I want to talk about each episode individually, and that will really get us all the way up to Andor. Plus, there's some other things that I need to play catch up for, right? So, if you haven't noticed, I'm still talking about things that came out at a Star Wars Celebration back in May. There's so much news that came out. I'm still like grappling my head around it. Heck, we're talking about Willow, which came out. This trailer came out at the panel that I was at the first day. But that's okay. That's okay. We're here to talk about it, to make it known how awesome it is, and to just have a fun time with it. That's what we're here for. Pull up a seat around the campfire, and let's have a great time with it all. So with that, no Cloud City gossip for this week again. We'll be back next time with that segment to talk about all the cool stuff that has come out over the last 2 weeks here. And with that, we're going to move into our segment about Willow. Now, I don't know how long this episode will be. It may be shorter by a couple minutes than our usual episode, which usually goes about 30 minutes or so. But hey, that's okay. That's okay. What I want to do is similar to what I've done with all of the other trailers thus far, whether it be Obi-Wan Kenobi, whether it be Andor a couple weeks ago, Jedi Survivor last week. What I like to do is I like to play the trailer and react to it live as we're all talking here. Now, there won't be any audio, of course. I don't want to get flagged for that. I've got it in my headphones here. But I will kind of like live react to it. So I feel like that's a fun, like a little adventure. It feels like I'm sitting there in your house with you right now, having a geeking out, just geeking out about how awesome what's going on, what I'm seeing it, and just having fun with it, right? If you feel inclined, now's the time to pull up the trailer yourself, whether it be on a tablet, a cell phone, a computer, your TV, another device of some sort that's connected to the interwebs. Highly recommend doing that. Pull up the trailer, just search Willow trailer. I got the first hit on that, which was the Lucasfilm YouTube channel, which is where I now have the trailer pulled up from. So I hope that you can pull it up with me, and if you feel inclined, let's watch it side by side. That'd be cool, right? So let's get ready for this. In a few seconds here, I'm going to hit the play button. I'm going to live react to it. So here we go, everybody. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm hitting play. All right, it's Willow time. I just love hearing that opening beat of the theme song, the Willow theme song. Oof, it's gonna be stuck in your head, everybody. Oh, love the imagery. Great to see Warwick Davis back as Willow Ofgood. There's Sorsha. Oh my goodness, what is this imagery? Am I right, everybody? Definitely light and shadow, that's for sure. Good and evil. It's gonna get really wild, really trippy. I can already see how expansive this world is. I really trust that. Oh man, I really trust that John Kasdan has really done a great job putting this series together as the head writer. It just looks like a great fun adventure, right? It says a new adventure there as it begins. The world needs Willow again and his magic. I I'm all for this. I mean, look at this. What is that thing burning there? I want to go into the unknown with Willow. There's even. Whew, that's right. Let's go into the unknown, everybody. Dun, dun, dun. Whew. November 30th on Disney Plus, ladies and gentlemen. That is my really quick live reaction to this minute and 20-second Willow trailer. I'm fully hoping that we get another one as we get closer to the series premiere date. But wow, there's just so much there. And I mean, frankly, I have no idea what I'm looking at. I mean, let's just start at the beginning here. Never would I have ever believed, if you'd have told me 5 years ago that we'd be getting another installment in the world of Willow, I'd have said you're nuts, right? It didn't do that great at the box office in '88. There have been some books to continue the story, but it just didn't seem to have that fervor, that fan-driven want for it. But thankfully, one of those people that saw Willow back in the day was a young John Kasdan, who, along with his father, Lawrence, co-wrote, I should say, Solo: A Star Wars Story. And during those interactions with the new director who took over later in the project, Ron Howard, who also directed 1988's Willow, they were able to have some conversations and see what could possibly be of a potential sequel. And I think we were all the better for it. Again, I would have never thought that this was happen, but thankfully, with the promise of what Disney Plus offers, yeah, we're in for a wonderful ride here. And I will mention too, like, I'm going to talk about the Willow movie at some point before the series comes out, do a full discussion about that, just so you know my thoughts and everything about that film before we get into it. So just a little heads up about that one overall. But this is really a dream come true. I mentioned this during the trailer itself, but I love that the Willow theme song is playing in the background, just especially at the beginning, that little piano stuff. Like, whew. Let me tell you, if you listen to it, pull up the Willow theme song, it will be playing in your head all day, ladies and gentlemen. So go listen to it if you really want it to be stuck in your head. But it's so good. And it's one of those things that it's plucky, it's optimistic, it puts you in a good mood. How could it not? It's just wonderful again to see Willow of Good again, right? It's said in the trailer by Sorsha, the unlikely hero who would protect her, the little baby from the beginning, from the first movie. It's great to see some of that imagery again from the first film. There's just a lot of like that skull stuff and what there. It's really quick flashes, and of course, Warwick Davis, none other, back in the fold as Willow of Good, the sorcerer. I guess I may even say Sorcerer Supreme if you take from a different property here. When they announced, going back to the Lucasfilm showcase panel from Star Wars Celebration, when they announced. Well, I mean, they announced the series ahead of time, but I had no idea that they would be what they meant by Lucasfilm Showcase panel. I had no idea that they were going to talk about Willow at all in the series or in that panel. And then when they're like, Lucasfilm has some other things other than Star Wars coming up, and first thing that in my head was, oh my God, they're gonna talk about Willow. I started, getting excited, and it was like grab the shoulders of Elise, and I was like, they're gonna talk about Willow. Warwick Davis is coming out. Warwick Davis. And of course, first John Kasdan and Ron Howard came out on stage to talk about Willow and the process of how it came to be, and they were playing jokingly about Warwick not wanting to be it takes a lot for him to get to certain places and stuff like that. And then, of course, he came out on stage, the rock star himself. And it was just fabulous to get to see Warwick Davis in the flesh, even as I was all the way up in the kind of like the second deck of the arena. Just wonderful stuff. Am I right? Like that, just epic, ladies and gentlemen. And he, like I said, true rock star to form. Wonderful that he's reprising his role as Willow again. Also excellent to see Saoirse again, and I'm glad that the actress is portraying the same role again. Let me pull this up quick from the internet because Joanne Whaley. Sorry, I didn't want to didn't want to get that wrong here, so I just wanted to make sure that I got that correct a little bit here too. So, excellent to see her back in the fold again. It looks like she's a queen. I know they've released some details about the series, but I'm trying to go in as blind as possible, and also it's so much to remember. I'm also hoping that we get to see some references to Mad Mardigan in the series too. I know probably we won't get to see Val Kilmer at all in this, so I'm just hoping that we get some references because Mad Mardigan is pretty awesome, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I can't stress this enough to go watch that first Willow film from 1988. It's on Disney Plus. And Val Kilmer's performance is pretty rocking. Not gonna lie there. My main takeaway from this trailer in general is that it looks so magical and mystic. I really can't explain anything, like I said before, that is going on in the trailer, but really, wow. Does it perk my interest as a person who loves getting lost in fantasy and fantasy epics? There's just a lot of great stuff imagery-wise. There's like a fish that is way too big poking its head out of the water, the lighting of it all. There's some castles. Great stuff. It's also excellent to see Erin Kellerman in the series. You may recall her from the Falcon and Winter Soldier, where she plays primarily the antagonist of the series in some regards. But she's also Enfys Nest from Solo: A Star Wars Story, the leader of the Cloud Riders, and just a fantastic Star Wars character. I mean, Enfys best, am I right? I'm glad that she's getting more work and is staying within the Disney Lucasfilm family again. The trailer ends with Warwick Davis as Willow of Good saying, "Into the unknown, that's where we must go." Frankly, I think that's a great way to end the trailer. It just really shows that like that adventure, that action adventure-esque fantasy that this story really has its roots in. And then just blasts right into the Willow theme again. Dun, dun, dun. Like, boy, does it put a smile on my face. Let me tell you, that is just some great stuff there. There's also this kind of conflicting theme that is present throughout the trailer as well. It's what Willow's talking about for the most part, where he says, it's about balance, right? There's light and dark, good and evil, right? As soon as it gets out of balance, then it self-corrects itself for some to that extent. And it just reminded me of, like, that's a very consistent theme in Star Wars, right? Balance of the Force. What does that mean? Darkness rises and light to meet it, as Supreme Leader Snoke would say in The Last Jedi. So I love the connective tissue in the thematic elements from George Lucas's worlds. And I'm excited to see what Willow actually means by that as he's gotten older and wiser, and he seems to be more proficient with his magic at this point in the story. So frankly, the sky's the limit here, and I'm excited to see their take on what these big thematic elements entail. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, the series will be premiering on November 30th only on Disney Plus. And I frankly cannot wait. It's time to get Willow back into popular culture, back into the schematics of it all. I think we're due for a wonderful fantasy epic adventure. And now I know there's a lot of fantasy epics going on right now. If you are on TV at all, you know that there's the Rings of Power, Lord of the Rings TV series on Amazon coming out. There's the Wheel of Time that's already on Amazon. That's kind of in a similar vein. There is the other series, which is the what is that? What is that? I'm losing it. I'm losing it here, folks. What's that last one? It's coming out at the same time as Rings of Power. Oh, it's Game of Thrones. House of Dragon. But those seem more tonally more mature, more adult focused, I would say. Whereas this one's, it has that prime target audience base that is purely a Lucasfilm Star Wars envision, which is for the 12-year-olds on the precipice of going out into the world and being their own people, and also for the 12-year-old kid within each of us that is still facing these challenges and problems, and it's going to attack it from that perspective. And that's, I think, it's going to be a fresh thing amidst all of this other genre-based material that is going to be influxing our world over the next couple of weeks. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Willow trailer. Be sure to go watch it over and over and over again. It is really special. It is really magical. It was something to be in the room with all this happening at once. I know we got to see some of the other cast come out and they talked about their characters. They've also did some follow-up conversations with them on the Star Wars show live stage that they did that during a Star Wars Celebration, when they had the cast out and all that. And I look forward to having more conversations with these characters and get to know them on a deeper level, know who their character names are and all that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And frankly, November 30th, the end of November, post-Thanksgiving. It's going to be a great post-Thanksgiving treat, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be epic. And I cannot wait. It's going to lead us right into the holiday season. It is going to be that wonderful boost of joy and adventure and fantasy that I think we all need at this time. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, that is our look at the Willow trailer. What did you think of it? Do you like Willow? Are you excited about Willow? Do you love the movie? What are you looking most forward to in the show? We'd love to have these conversations with you all. Hit us up on our social media channels. Force Goes Pod on Twitter. Force Goes Conversations just about everywhere else. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. We're there. Come hit us up and let's chat about it. It's going to be a fun series and we're going to be here each and every step of the way. And with that, everybody, that is all that I had for this week's episode of Force Goes Conversations. I thank you all for listening. I thank you all again for your patience as I have pre-recorded these episodes. And we'll be back next week with a more regular kind of based episode with Cloud City Gossip and the whole gambit of it all. Next week. So thank you again for listening. Be sure to share us with your friends wherever they get their podcasts. We're available just about everywhere. And we will be back again with another installment in the world of Lucasfilm, probably in the Star Wars galaxy again. But thank you all for going off on this side tangent with me here. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and may the Force be with you.